Alrighty guys, you all ready?
Yeah.
Man, I can feel the excitement out there. I'm a little more excited than you guys are because today is my first day with real live human beings. Yeah, so I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited. You know, I watched like 3 YouTube videos on how to drive a boat, so I feel like I'm ready, you know. But while I'm getting all set up back here, everybody reach under your seats on the right-hand side, grab your seat belts and put those on for me real quick. Safety first.
Nó giỡn xinh béo gì.
Mess with you guys, man. Man, I got a lot of y'all. This is a good group. You don't seatbelts on a boat. You gotta think about that. It's a boat, right? If the boat was going down, worst case scenario, you would not want to be strapped into a sinking ship. That's a bad idea right there. Today, you got the safest thing in the world out here. You know what you guys have today? You got Captain Nick today, man. You are in semi-qualified hands out here, you know? I don't have a license yet, so to speak, but I'll be your boat captain, I'll be your tour guide, I'll be your lifeguard if things do go horribly, horribly wrong again. For the odds of that, twice in one day are pretty slim. So I feel like statistically, you know, we got pretty good odds out here, pretty good chances. Whatever you guys need, though, let me know. We can speed up, we can slow down, we can just do donuts the whole time. I'm here for you guys. If y'all have any questions today, please feel free to ask. I guarantee I can answer any question y'all throw at me or your money back. I'm crazy. You know what, if I don't know the answers to your questions, I'll just make something up. You'll never know the difference because you guys were all looking for your seatbelts a minute ago, man. I got a pretty gullible group to work with, but I won't lie to you guys too much here. We got a lot of cool history out here. Now, before I do start talking about the history, I got a couple quick safety rules because safety is always a priority. Rule number 1 today is don't stand up. Right, if you stand up on my boat, I'm not going to do anything about it. There's really nothing I can do, man. I'm not going to fight you guys. I'm not going to throw you overboard. I'd like to fight each and every one of y'all. You know, we have this new rule where I can't fight the guests anymore. I don't know what to do, man. I got to warn you, we got some low bridges. I don't want you to hit your head on the bridge. I know that sounds dumb, but it really does happen. Mainly to me because I have to stand up the entire time. I have personally hit my head on this bridge right here in front of us, the bridge behind us, the bridge after this. I kid you not, the bridge after that. 2 other bridges by the mall. I've fallen in twice. I jumped in once. It's been a long, hard first day apparently. So try to learn from my mistakes. Don't stand up under bridges unless you're me, because I got a lot of trial and error. I know where to stand. You know? That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 today is no smoking. That includes vaping, e-cigarettes, wacky tobacco. All my Californians out there. You know, Colorado, Alabama, Arizona, Washington, Nevada, New York, New Jersey, Mississippi, Minnesota, Tennessee. Like every state but Texas pretty much at this point. You can drink whatever you want to drink, and we encourage that. The more you guys drink, the better this is, the more entertaining I seem to be. You just have to stay down here on the river. If you have an open container on the street, they'll give you a ticket for that. But you are allowed to smoke on the street and not on the river. I don't know why it's a rule, it's very confusing, but make sure you're drinking down here and smoking up there. If you can't remember which one is which, just find a staircase. That's like middle ground. You can do whatever you want, nobody cares. I've never seen anybody get a ticket on the staircase, so full legal immunity there. But those are the only 2 rules I have, man. I'm pretty laid back. Some of these guys get really strict. I mean, they'll tell you like no talking, no cell phones, no touching bridges. That's crazy. I'm here for you guys. If you want to touch a bridge, touch the bridge. I don't care. As long as you're being safe, we're good, you know. Yeah, if anything does happen, we do have life jackets on the boat. Very important that you guys know the life jackets are right back here under these 2 little floor panels next to me. So no matter what happens, I will be fine. These guys in first class will be okay. Good luck to the rest of you guys, but you know, we've never once had to use the life jackets, and I'll tell you the same thing that I tell every other boat I've ever sank. When the boat goes down, you gotta stay calm. And you gotta go down with the ship. Now, once the boat settles on the bottom of the river, you gotta stand up with your legs. You gotta walk to the side. And you gotta get out because it's 3 feet deep, man. You don't need a life jacket out here. You got a question? Okay. Well, if you want a life jacket, let me know. I'll give it to you. I'm actually, if you ask me for a life jacket, company policy is I have to give it to you. So I will. I'm telling you right now, though, if you guys make me get down there and dig out a life jacket, I will make fun of you mercilessly the entire time we're riding around because you don't need them. 3 feet deep, guys. But that's the whole safety brief. So welcome to the crystal clear waters of the San Antonio River. Bienvenidos for all of my Spanish speakers out here today. And for those of y'all that speak Spanish, lo siento. Yo no hablo español porque soy un gringo, un güero. I'm going to probably butcher all the names in Spanish out here. I am trying to learn, hablo un poquito, estoy aprendiendo. I know, like, Dos Equis, Modelo, Tecate, Corona. Y propinas, porque propinas es muy importante para cervezas when I get done with the tour here. But a lot of the history out here is in Spanish, because in case y'all didn't know, this river is a natural river. This is not man-made. Now, I'm from San Antonio, and I'm ashamed to say my whole life growing up out here, I thought this was man-made, because it looks really man-made, but this is actually the San Antonio River. It's over 240 miles long. It goes all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And the Spaniards were the first ones to really settle the area. And all the Spanish missionaries and conquistadors first got here on June 13th, 1691. And June 13th is the feast day of St. Anthony. It's the day of San Antonio. That's why they named this the San Antonio River back in 1691. And the city has just been growing around the river ever since then. That's why we have so much cool history out here. So I'm saying, if you have questions, feel free to cut me off. Otherwise, I don't shut up the entire time. Had a lot of caffeine. I am wired right now. Yes, ma'am. What, the river? The bridge back there? That's a good question. So, a lot of these bridges were redone in the 30s and 40s. FDR had this really cool project going on to kind of help out after the Great Depression, recovery, and that sort of thing. But initially, that was one of the first bridges built in here. So that area behind us used to be called the Old Mill Crossing. That was one of the most shallow, hard-packed parts of the river. So when the Spaniards got it, actually, they crossed there on horseback before they held that sermon, and they built that bridge in the 1700s. But it didn't look like that back then. It's been redone, like I said, in the 1930s and 40s for a lot of these bridges. That's a really good question right there. See, I kind of covered all the key points, but there's history with anything you see, So if you got questions, let me know. Like on my right-hand side, look at all those weird little things sticking up out of the ground right there. Those are called the knees of the tree. That's a bald cypress tree. That's part of the root system of the bald cypress tree. The little stalagmite thing sticking up out of the ground. Kind of cool looking. If you like on my left-hand side, that building right there, that's the Tower Life building. It's got a lot of neo-Gothic architecture. If y'all look down here underneath this bottom row of windows, you have these ugly, evil-looking little faces down here. Kind of creepy looking. If you look way up there at the top, you got a bunch of medieval gargoyles sticking out of the top floors. The guys that built this thing put that in there because they were superstitious, and that's supposed to ward off bad business and evil spirits. Which is kind of ironic because they built that in 1929. Yeah, 1929, the stock market crashed. We hit the Great Depression. They spent $3 million building this. Opened up for a couple of months and went completely bankrupt. They had to turn around and sell this whole thing to the city for $240,000. Less than 10% of what it cost to build it. Which is a crazy good deal for the city. I mean, not so much for the guys that built it, but the city, man, they killed it on that one. The whole thing was actually designed too so that it looks like a giant ship coming into the river. So if you look at it back there behind me, you got like the bow and the mast up there. It's kind of angled towards the river. Just a cool building right there. And everything back here, like I said, the city has been growing around this part of the river for a long time, so it's all historic. Back here, it's all 3 to 4 feet deep, all natural. The only deep part of the river is up there in front of us. That little like pink area out there, that's the man-made flood channel, and it's 26 feet deep out there. Now, that's a very important little piece of the operation back here. The river's always been here, but obviously it wasn't always a river walk. It's not like Santa Ana was down here riding boats, drinking margaritas before he attacked the Alamo, right? We couldn't do any of this cool stuff because it used to flood really bad, like a lot of natural rivers do. But on September 9th, 1921, we had a really bad flood. This is the street level above our heads right here. In 1921, the floodwaters were all the way up 12 feet over the top of this bridge. 12 feet over the street level. All the way up 12 feet over that bridge too. All those cars are, they were all underwater. There was a crazy flood. And the city actually wanted to get rid of the river. They wanted to dam it up, fill it in, pave over it. It was too much of a hazard to have your whole city built around a river that could flood that bad. So Robert H. Hugman is the father of the RiverWalk. He designed this system right here. So nowadays what we do to control the level of the water is all the floodwaters come out here. If y'all look down there behind me, you got those red and green lights down there. There's a 17-foot drop off down there. That's why we're not going that way. Not gonna make that jump on my first day. We're gonna come back on my last day for that. But we kind of just lower that floodgate and the floodwaters pour into that southern part of the river. They go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And we do the same thing to let the water come in from up north. So by just raising and lowering the floodgates, we can keep it nice and level and consistent all year round. It keeps the city safe as the primary function. But a really nice little added benefit is we can also have the RiverWalk because we control the level of the water. And now because this is the deepest part of the river, there's a really cute little tradition going on out here. On this bridge back here above my head, you got a chain link fence right back here behind me. It's got thousands of locks on it. And there's a little chapel on the left. If you guys get married in that chapel, you're supposed to come out into this fence and put your lock on that fence. Then you lock it, you kiss the key and you throw it into the deepest part of the river to symbolize your everlasting and eternal love. I know, right? My favorite part about that, if you guys actually go up there and you look at those locks, almost half the locks that are up there are combination locks. You know? For all the ones who weren't too sure, man, they just couldn't commit to that key in the river there, you know. But planning ahead, saving some money on bolt cutters down the road. It's called the Locks of Love. The San Antonio tradition right there. Over on my left-hand side, you got some stairs coming into view. Those stairs will take you up and out to the oldest church in Texas. It's the San Fernando Cathedral. Can't roll my R's, so we're going San Fernando. They built that back in 1731. They got some really cool history up there. Before the Battle of the Alamo kicked off, General Santa Anna had 3,000 of his men lined up in front of that cathedral to show the defenders of the Alamo he had them outnumbered over 10-1. And he raised the red flag of no quarter on top of it, just to show that he wasn't taking any prisoners. And instead of surrendering, the defenders of the Alamo responded by raising that famous "Come and Take It" flag, and they fired a cannon at him. It's really cool history back there. If you're gonna check that out, I recommend it. A lot of cool stuff going on with the Texas Revolution. Like even this tree up here in front of us, that's a twin cypress tree right ahead of the boat. That's the oldest tree on the river. It's estimated to be over 350 years old. It's nicknamed the Sniper Tree. During the Texas Revolution, a Mexican soldier would climb into that tree with his rifle, and he would pick off all the Texas cavalry as they watered their horses down here on the river. He's over 100 feet tall, man. 350 years old. Down here at the base of the tree, you have a small herd of tourists in their natural habitat. Look at that. Beautiful creatures. You can wave at them. Don't make eye contact. They're kind of hostile sometimes. And this archway right here, this is the other floodgate. This one's kind of like a guillotine style floodgate. So this has got a 3-ton steel door above your heads. It comes crashing down violently every Friday night at exactly 10:07. Yeah, stupid system, right? No, it really is a 3-ton steel door though. It's kind of like a big garage door. Every January we close both of our little floodgates and we'll drain out the whole RiverWalk to clean it. Yeah, he's not wrong. No, we have to drain it out because it's only 3 to 4 feet deep in here, and this is where all the people are. So this is where we find all the crazy stuff, and we find some crazy stuff in here. You know those electric scooters they have on the street level, those bird and lime scooters? A couple years ago we found 47 scooters in here, and just this little part of the river. Find a lot of clothing, a lot of chairs, silverware, cell phones, bodies, sunglasses, all kinds of crazy stuff. So we try and keep it clean. On my right side, this is the Esquire Tavern. This is the oldest tavern on the river. That officially opened up as a tavern right there on December 5th, 1933, the exact same day that we lifted the law of prohibition. So the second that alcohol became legal in America, they somehow opened up in a fully stocked bar. And nobody asked any questions there as to where all that liquor came from so fast. Well, you know, during prohibition, when alcohol was illegal, that was the Esquire Barbershop. That was a very popular little barbershop right there. People were going in there 4 or 5 times a week for a haircut, man. They'd be in there for hours, they'd come back out, they'd still need a haircut. They were feeling it, they were having a good time. On my right hand side, these guys in this line really wish they were on a boat. But they're not, and you are, so I want you to smile and wave smugly and really rub it in. Man, it sure is great being on a boat. Your boat will be here in a couple hours, guys. You're almost there. 2.5 more hours. You'll get there. Hang tight. This is the same thing you're doing right now. This is just our other ticketing location. That's the Aztec Theater. And the big Aztec head on top. Used to be a really popular silent movie theater back in 1926. A lot of black and white films like Charlie Chaplin films. They ended up hosting a Charlie